How's it going, everybody? It's Daikin here, bringing you another Guilty Gear Strive tutorial. And today we're going to be going over Faultless Defense, or FD for short. We're going to be talking about how to actually properly use it and the pros and cons of using it. So let's go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, the first thing I want to let you know is obviously how to do it. So Faultless Defense is going to be 2 buttons, any 2 buttons you would like outside of dust. So as long as it doesn't use the dust button, you can do it at the cost or expense of your meter. As you can see, I'm using different button combinations and it works. Now, unlike previous Guilty Gears, there is no macros for multiple buttons, so you do have to use this method even if you are a controller player, unfortunately. So just keep this in mind. There's going to be 2 buttons that you use outside of the dust button, and that's going to be able to give you a faultless defense. As you can see, it does use meter for how long you press it, so you want to use it sparingly for how you use it. So that is going to be one downside, is it does expend your meter at the cost of doing this. Now, what exactly does this do? It does a couple of things. First off the bat, one thing it definitely does is it allows you to get the opponent off of you. So if we show an example here of a Kai block string, this is what it would look like normally. Now if I FD the entire thing, as you can see, he actually whiffs. So another block string by Kai will be here. As you can see, that's what it looked like normally. And this is what it would look like with the FD. So as you can see, it will whiff because it has further pushback. So FD allows you to push the opponent back a lot more than just regular blocking. And this will allow you to get chances to basically, either escape the corner or try to take your turn and stuff like that by making them whiff. It does a couple other things as well. So if we show this example right here. So as you can see, I took a lot of chip damage with Soul. As you can see, my health did go past the S of his name. But let's FD this and see what happens. As you can see, I took no chip damage. So this will allow you to avoid chip damage and potentially chip kills, because you can die from chip damage in this game. So it does help you from those type of scenarios. There's other couple of things that it definitely helps out with too. For example, it does stop the increase of your RISC gauge as well. So if we look at something like this. As you can see, not only did I push him back, not only am I going to negate chip damage, but I'm also going to negate anything that has to do with my RISC gauge. And this actually goes for air things too. So a lot of people don't know that, yes, you can block in the air in this game, but when you block things in the air, like say this move, as you see how much RISC gauge that it gave me, if I block in the air, it actually gives me a substantial amount more. As you can see. But look how much more that I got compared to just blocking it on the ground. So it's a little bit more that you get, but of course, once again, if you FD in the air, you get none of it, and of course you get pushed back a lot more, so it gives you a chance to reset the situation. So as you can see from the example so far, not only does FD allows you to escape the opponent's pressure by pushing them further away, not only does it allow you to escape chip kills, but it also allows you to negate the increase in RISC gauge. Now there's a couple other things that FD also does, and that's going to be within the form of movement. So as you can see, when you run inside this game, you actually have this little bit of run momentum that happens, and your character got to slide on the floor a little bit. But if you happen to FD, you actually stop right away. So you don't have to worry about this sliding momentum thing. Now, what exactly is this good for? This is going to be very good for when you are actually trying to punish your opponent as far as a whiff punish. So you want to stay right outside their range. You know the range of Kai's far slash, and you want to stay right outside of that, but the run momentum will make you to where you have to like go in. Now with the run momentum, you won't get hit with it even though you're blocking, so keep that in mind. You won't actually get a hit, but you will be forced to block something. As you can see, I'm actually forced to block even though I'm in that run momentum state. But if you want to stop this from happening, if you want to actually just stay outside the range, just FD like this, make you stay outside the range and allow you to punish accordingly. And this will allow you to, get the damage you need because you stayed outside the range. So it makes it to where like it feels like you're coming in, but you're stopping your momentum. This is very good for certain characters specifically, and of course in certain matchups. Really is something that a lot of people should just be aware of. If you're not using it during your like offense or during your neutral approach, you should be aware that this is an option that at least the opponent has when it comes to like what they're doing or what they're trying to do and stuff like that. So keep this in mind. Another good thing that FD actually does is in the air, it actually makes you fall faster. So when you are doing certain things, I know there's some safe jumps that characters do that utilize FD fall momentum to actually make it to where the safe jump works and stuff like this. So if we take this in, for example, so if we look at Soul here and he glides, you see he like sort of has a little bit of a hover to him. Like he sort of just stalls in the air a little bit. He's in the air for quite some time. But if we FD, look how much faster that he falls. He doesn't like hover right above Kai. Like right after he crosses up, you see he like hovers over a little bit. Just like sort of falls very slow. It doesn't happen anymore. He just really just comes down. It's just almost like it's instant. And you can use this to your advantage to like actually, you know, go for faster cross up lows or faster cross up buttons and stuff if you really want to do that type of thing. So it could definitely make things a lot faster when it comes to like using this type of stuff, especially if you want to do like buttons like that, you know, and make it a little bit faster rather than hovering and then coming down. It's a little bit slower if you do it that way. So definitely very good for movement across your opponents and stuff like that too. So it's very good for that. Now, an important thing to know when it comes to actually faultless defensing is what actually should you be faultless defensing. Now, there's a couple of things that I think are very good as faultless defense, and there's things that I don't think that are good to faultless defense. For example, I don't think certain things like Kai's or Soul's far slash is very effective of actually doing, because his move actually moves forward. You're actually doing nothing but wasting a lot of meter. As you can see, he sort of just always gets back in. Now, another important thing to actually note when it comes to actually faultless defensing is there actually is another downside when you actually do it. So what essentially happens when you faultless defense is it actually makes it to where you have 2 extra frames of blocks done. So what this means is you can't actually do anything for an extra 2 frames. So if something from your opponent is minus like 2, then actually you make it neutral. If it's minus 1, then you make it plus 1. So from the added benefit of you pushing them further away, the opponent get a benefit of them being a little bit more advantageous in a certain situation. So you have to keep this in mind. Now, for things to actually look for when FDing, there's a couple of things I think you should keep in mind. One is multi-hitting moves. These are going to be pretty good moves to actually FD, and that's because they're going to have to actually, you know, do the entire move. They can cancel it early if they see it, but, you know, if they are doing the entire move and they actually don't see it, then you actually get a chance to escape. So looking at Giovanna's far slash here, you know, her far slash is a multi-hitting attack. It does about 3 hits, and this is like a full string that she can do. But if we actually FD this thing, as you can see, there actually is a gap there. So that means it gives us a chance to actually jump and hop out with Soul. So as you can see, using FD on these multi-hitting normals is actually very good. Another case of it actually being pretty good is doing it on light attacks, because characters can do a nice rapid session of light attacks or like crouch and lights and stuff. They could typically do about 3 to 4, especially with dash momentum, but doing FD allows you to get out of this situation pretty easily. So it allows you once again to create some space. If they whiff one, then it could be your turn, or you could take that chance to try to escape the corner if you are in the corner. One last thing I think FD will help you out on is when you recognize that a character is actually doing delays. So if your opponent likes to do a bunch of delays, like say if they like to do something like this into this to try to catch you from like up backing, if you like to up back, or to catch you if you're trying to like, they know you like to mash buttons or something like that, or they think you're going to mash buttons, you can actually use this time to FD the normal that they would press before they do the delay. So in this case, this close slash, if they like to delay into this, as you can see, because they are delaying, because I am delaying, and I try to press something, then as you can see, the first part is whiffing. Now if I do it real fast, as you can see, it won't, it's harder for the first hit to whiff, as you can see, but the second hit will still whiff because it is once again a double hitting normal. But if you do it fast enough, it can make it to where it's harder for this to actually whiff. But if they delay it like this, then you can make the whole thing whiff, because they are trying to delay to try to catch you mashing or to catch you trying to hold up or something like that. And this will stop them from doing that. So it's a little bit of a mind game you can play when you're FDing if you know what your opponent is trying to do. Now, the last mechanic to actually talk about is instant block faultless defense. And it's essentially basically what it sounds like. You're going to be essentially instant blocking while you're faultless defensing. So basically, as soon as the attack hits you, you want to basically hold back and instant block at the same time. Basically like you're trying to instant block, but you're pressing the FD at the same time. This will actually give you an instant faultless defense. And this allows you to push the opponent even further away. So we take this example of Giovanna doing a quick block string of 2 hits. see how far she is from this. But if we set Soul to actually do Faultless defense, instant Faultless defense, look how much further away she actually is. Really big difference when it comes to actually doing it. Now, once again, this is going to be a very extremely advanced technique because instant blocking is already hard enough in this game. So trying to implement instant blocking and Faultless defense at the same time is going to be quite difficult. But if you want to try to create even more space, then this is the way to try to do it. And that pretty much covers everything that you need to know for Faultless defense. Once again, we went over everything from trying to create space to what it actually does as far as avoiding chip and avoiding the risk gauge. We went over like how to actually properly use it, what to actually look for, and the actual downsides and benefits of using Faultless defense. Hope you guys found this useful. As always, if you like anything you had to say, drop me a like, I greatly appreciate it. And if you hear more from me, follow me on my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when the next video goes live. As always, my name is Dyken, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.